Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Patrick here from All Things Mathematics, and moving on to the next example dealing with statistics. Here we are given a bunch of this data here, and we have to create a stem and leaf plot of all of these numbers. And then in addition to that, once we have the stem and leaf plot, we have to state how many additional stems and leaves would you have to add to the chart for each of these new observations below. So if you were adding these numbers here into the data, how many new stems and leaves would you have to add? Now, you don't have to write all of this out. This is printed out in lecture notes as a PDF on the website. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you go to my website. All the videos are organized there by lecture, and then you can print out the PDF with all the lecture notes, and then this is going to be one of the videos there where it is going to be organized, right? So I'll put a link in the description box where you can print out the lecture notes for this, so you don't have to write all of this out. And all you have to do is basically write out the stem and leaf plot. Now, stem and leaf plot, if you've gone over it before, it's basically split up into two halves like this. Usually you won't see titles here, but I'll just put a title. So I'll put stem here, leaf right here, and then the leaf always represents the last digit of the numbers, and then the stem is going to represent the first digits or first digit other than the last value or the last digit in the whole number. Okay, so let's see which are the lowest numbers here. Notice the lowest ones are the 90s, right? So we have 91, 92, 92 out here. So what would happen is the stem here, what we would put is this first value, which is the 9, and then the leaf would represent the last digits, right, with that first number being the 9. So the last digit here would be the 1, so we would put a 1 here, and then we'd have a 2 for the 92, and then 92 is happening again, so we're going to have 2 leaves that have a value of 2, like that. Okay, so if you see something like that, it means that there's 3 numbers here, 91, 92, 92, right, which is what we have here. So let's cross those out. And then the next values is going to be the hundreds, right? So between 100 and 109, right? Because between 100 and 109, so there's 103, there's 106, 105, 108, and then I think that's all of them. All of them are going to have a stem of 10, right? 10, 10, 10. Remember, the leaf only represents the last digit in the number, right? So the rest of the digits in the number are going to be the stem. And so in this case, because we're dealing with numbers from 100 to 109, we know that the stem is going to be 10. Right? And then we have to write them in order. Let me just make sure that we have all of them. Okay, so 103, that's the first one. So we're going to have a leaf of 3 there. 105, 5, 6, 8. Right? So 4 numbers that are between 100 and 109. 103, 105, 106, 108. Right? 103, 105, 106, 108. Like that. What's going to be the next stem? It's going to be 11, right? So here we're looking for numbers from 110, which we have, to 119, right? Because then 120, the stem then is going to be 12, right? So which of these numbers have a stem of 11? So 110, 119, 114, 110 again, 113, and then I think that is it. Right? Okay, so let's go in order. So 110, that's a 0, and there's another 110 happening over here. So that's going to be a 0, like that. And then from there, we have what? 113 and then 114. Did I miss anything? No. So 113, so that's going to be a 3. Then we're going to have 114, so 4. And then we're going to have 119, so that's going to be a 9, like that. So take off, take off, take off, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Next stem is going to be 12. So from 120 to 129, which numbers do we have? 122, 122, 128, right? So that's going to be what? 2, 2 for the two 122s, and then 128, like that. So those go away. And then finally, we have the 130, so those are going to have a stem of 13. And then we're going to have what? 131, 132, so 131, 132, 133, 34, and then 35, right? Like that. And I think that's going to be all the numbers. Now, how many numbers were there? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's 20 numbers. And so you could count basically the number of leaves, and that should be 20 as well, right? So we got 3, we got 4, so that's 7, 12, 15, 20, right? So if you count all the leaves, we do have 20 numbers as well. So we could be pretty confident that that is the correct stem and leaf plot, right? So the leaves always represent the last digits of the numbers, and then the stems represent the first digit, or sometimes it's multiple digits, right? If your whole number that you're working with is going to be a 3-digit number, then the leaf is going to be the last digit, and then the stem is going to be 2 of the digits. Now, for the second part, they're asking how many additional stems and leaves would you add to the chart for each new observation below? Okay, so let's go through these. 95. Well, notice we already have a stem for the 90s, right? So we don't have to add a new stem, we just have to add a new leaf. We would have a 5 right there, right? So this one would only be 1 new leaf that would have to be added because we already have the 9 stem. 103, we already have the stem. 10. We would have to just add a new leaf of 3, so that would go in the middle, right? That would be a new leaf right there. We would put another 3 in. 138, again, we already have a stem of 13, so all we have to do is add a new leaf there of 8. 82, notice that we don't have a stem of 8, right? So we would have to add that. Let's just put it up here. We're running out of room here. So 8. We would have a new stem of 8, and then we would have a new leaf of 2. So for 82, we'd have to add a new stem and a new leaf because we don't have a base for the 80s, right? We don't have a stem for the 80s, so that would have to go there. And then same 141, notice we don't have a stem of 14, right? So we would have to add that stem 14 and then a leaf of 1. So the 82, 141, we had to add both a stem and a leaf, versus these first 3 numbers, we already had the stems, so all we had to add was the leaves. And that's a wrap for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to see more videos like this, please go to my website, allthingsmathematics.com. Over there, all of the videos are organized by chapter, by section. If you feel like you need tutoring at any point, you could also hit me up. My contact details are on the website. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.